So it's not very often we get to do this, but we are going to do a new part comparison and what you get when you buy this stuff from any of the major aftermarket distributors. Like Jegs or Summit, doesn't matter who it's from. What you need to look for is if it's a official licensed product or if it's a copy. And so we ended up ordering an extra distributor set. One of them is an official licensed Mopar product, and the other one is a Proform product. And comparing the official licensed reproduction part with the China part and the factory Mopar part, and just see what the differences are, if any, on what we're buying today, and does the official licensed product get you any added value for the name. We have an original Mopar distributor here, and it's from Chrysler. It's for small block from 72 to 89, I think. We got this stuff because we're taking the lean burn off of a Mopar. Lean burn distributor locks the shaft out where it doesn't move, and it just lets all the spark advance be controlled by the computer. So this one's a non-lean burn because it has the mechanical advance in it. And compare that to these two, it's pretty spot on. I see some machining differences from where the factory had machined parts and the aftermarket didn't. Like example, this right here is machined on the factory Mopar part. It's left raw cast on both the Mopar Performance part and the Proform part. An addition that I see from factory, the cap retaining clips, they just basically smashed that side with a chisel so that can't come out. On both the aftermarket Mopar and the Proform part, they've got some kind of rivet there and they haven't smashed the outside edge. I don't know that that's better or worse. Sometimes these will come out, but I mean, it's pretty sturdy. Going on with the rest of the differences, as you can see, it's pretty spot on from the factory. I'm seeing, as far as the internals goes, for the magnetic pickup mounting plate and how all that goes, it's pretty much identical. Looks like they've got a little different plating on one. These are identical, same part, same everything. Looks like there's a little different rivet between the two of them. The reluctor wheel is a little bit darker on this one than it is this one. This one looks a little bit like a denser part than this one. Maybe the casting's better on this one than this one as far as the reluctor wheel goes. The pickup itself looks the same between the Mopar Performance and the Proform. It looks like the factory Mopar one used a rivet to hold that together, and both of these use a screw to mount the reluctor wheel to the bracket. It looks like the screw on the Mopar part is bigger than the Proform part. I noticed this right here on the Mopar part's got a rolled pin, and that roll pin goes through and it keeps this mounting plate locked in place. It keeps it from moving. The screws do too, but neither one of the but neither the Mopar part or the Proform part have that roll pin. We can close up on this one, Colby. Here's what we're talking about. So on the factory Chrysler part, there's a roll pin right there, and it keeps this plate. And that plate's screwed in right here, and it's screwed in right here, so it's not really like it's gonna twist and move, but it does have that roll pin right there, locating that. And is that for locating the mounting plate, or is that for locating the vacuum advance? But it has the holes for it. But the roll pin is missing on the Mopar part. And it is also missing on the Proform part. They both look like they're off a half a hole. The vacuum pod appears to be, the same material, some of the same press. I can see some of the tool marks on both of them are the same, but if you look at the straight on, this one's nice and round, and this one's got some uneven where they hemmed the pieces of the vacuum pod together. It's really stuck out right there, and it's got a flat spot right there. So I mean, if it passes the test for the vacuum and it's doesn't leak, I don't see a problem with that, other than the Mopar part is lots nicer than the Proform part as far as how the vacuum pod is seamed together. They both appear to be the same casting and have the same machine marks on them. The pickup appears to be the same, but the wires are definitely different. Just from a texture feel, these are stiffer wire. These are way softer, way more malleable. And it looks like there's a weave almost built into the wire itself. But the wires, while the pickup might be the same, the wires are definitely a different quality. The pigtail looks the same as far as where it plugs in. A little more casting defect on the Proform part than the Mopar part, but where they cut the flashing off of the Proform part's probably better than where they cut the flashing off on the Mopar part. This is 50 years old. The wires are going to be way more brittle on this one than the new ones. Added detail that tells the direction of the distributor movement on the top of the original one. It looks like neither the Mopar one or the Proform one has that detail for direction. And I wouldn't so much expect that on an aftermarket part either way. It looks like the machining process is actually different. Right here, the machine that put the slot in there, it looks like it actually got to the back side of this one, and it did not on that one. The chamfer on them looks the same, but it looks like this one's got some extra machining on the back side of it to be able to put the roll pin in to where it locks into the shaft, because underneath that there's a clip. You pull the clip out and you can pull this top half off the bottom shaft, and it looks like a different machining process for the Mopar one to the Proform one. The rest of it looks identical. We could measure that. They feel to be about the same as far as thrust play. The Mopar part probably has a little less thrust than both of the new parts do, and that's saying something because it's ancient and used. And I'm sure this isn't a factory part here. I'm sure this has been replaced. The casting is different from the rotor bug here to the Mopar and the Proform. Again, they have a different nut or screw holding it down. It looks like that one's a little nicer. This one's a little rougher around the edge. It actually looks like that's a chamfered flathead, and that's a round head and seats flat. So definitely a difference in the hardware holding the rotor bug together. The casting looks identical, and maybe the Proform part has a little better, going back to the flashing that was removed from it. Looks like the Mopar part has more flashing than the Proform part. Looks like they did a better job of taking the flashing off the Proform part than the Mopar part. It's not a factory Mopar cap. It does have the extra literature for rotation on it. It does say made in America. This one does have aluminum lugs in it for the caps. Both of these, both the Mopar and the Proform, have brass inserts for the caps. Definitely a different machining process for the brass that's been inserted into the cap. This looks like a lighter material, like a different alloy. This looks darker and richer. This looks like it's got more aluminum in it than this does. I got no way to test that other than just by the eye. The vents are different. The graphite ball in the center of it looks to be a better quality. This one looks like it's got looks cheaper. This looks more like an original part. The caps are definitely different. The Mopar part says made in America. This one is smooth on the inside, where this one it's not smooth all the way through, and it's got some recesses not recess. Close up here on this one. It's got these little bumps to like hold it tight, but it's not machined all the way around. That's cast, and that's cast too, but it's just different. I wonder what this cap is. So this cap looks more like the other cap there. This one says made in America too, but it's got that same bump to hold the cap tight on it. There is one thing in the machining process between these I noticed. That top edge and the thickness of the top edge, the Mopar part, they're not exactly the same, but they're pretty close. Where this one, the chamfer that they put on the Proform part, you see that, Colby?
Yep, you see the chamfer.
Can you see the chamfer difference between the two?
Yep.
Can you close up on it, really show them the difference? How the one's got way more of a chamfer on it. And I think that affects how the cap sits on it. Fits pretty good. They both have the same amount of movement as far as radial play. This one does feel a little looser with that extra radius on it, or extra chamfer on it. Now, with using the Proform cap on the Proform body, it doesn't seem to have that same looseness on it. But it is a lot harder to get the set square on there. And that fits pretty good. The old cap seems to fit the Proform pretty good. That fits good. There's the Proform part on there. That fits good. So they'll all interchange. And as long as the cap you're using has the bumps in it to hold that tight, that recess is not a problem. But if you're using a smooth cap, it's got a little extra play in it. So that's just on the distributors how they come. What we noticed in the rest of the kit, going back to the wires, they're not the same wires. They are a different color. I mean, they're like gray for gray and blue for blue and black for black and green for green and all that, but they're not the same wire. I can tell that this one's a truer black. This has got more brown in the black. What, that blue's darker than that blue. What does that all matter? Well, just by the feel of them again. The wires that come in the Mopar kit, they feel more flexible than the wires that are in the Proform kit. I can see the difference where this one feels like it's got some fabric in with to help it. I don't know what that is, but I can see it in how that it's got some kind of fabric reinforcement to it. This looks like the Proform one looks like it has the fabric reinforcement to it, but when you really look at it up close, those are machine marks. That is where that's part of the manufacturing process where they're running this wire through the machine that builds it. And that's almost like the machine counting how many inches it kicks out before it cuts it. So that's not a fabric in the wire. That is a machine mark from something that's counting how long to make the harness. And this one they're softer and they don't have any of that machine mark in them. So gonna say that there's a difference in wire quality without cutting them up and digging to it. There's a difference in wire quality with the Mopar kit to the Proform kit. As far as the rest of this goes, different Ziploc bags. Looks like the Proform's got a better Ziploc bag than the Mopar bag does. We got a sticker. Stickers are different. They are not identical. It looks like the finish on the Mopar box is a little shinier than the Proform box. I don't know that that makes any difference, and it wouldn't make sense that that there would be a difference there. From what I understand, this Mopar part is built by Proform. So this isn't like it's made at Mopar and that's made at Proform. Both of these are made by Proform. But the Mopar is using different materials than the Proform is. And I'm gonna tell you that from talking with people at Chrysler about licensing. To put the Mopar sticker on there, they have a grade that wire has to be so good, or that thing that they use has to be so good. So really the difference that we're seeing from the Mopar unit built by Proform and the Proform part is the quality of some of the pieces that they use inside of it. Now, does that make a difference in how it's going to work on your car? I'm just telling you what I see the difference in the manufacturing process from one to the other. I'm not going to get these mixed up. A small package of small parts. The resistors in the big bag on this one, the resistors in a medium bag. The little bags look to be the same. I don't see any difference there. The ballast resistor, while it has a different stamp on it, the casting appears to be identical. I'll pull these out. Give it an honest look. So there is a difference. See how the Proform's off to one side and the Mopar's centered? They've got little bumps there to keep the Mopar part from sliding back and forth. The metal on the Mopar part is thicker as far as the retaining bracket. Internally, the resistor that's actually in there appears to be the same. Like the ends of it, they look the same, and that would make sense. They've got the same resistors, same connections, but the difference between Mopar brand and Proform brand, they made this one a little lighter, a little thinner, and a simpler casting. And that would make sense. Now the price comparison between these two kits is like $30 to $50 depending on where you're getting it. This one, the Proform kit's like $125 to $155, and this one's like $180 bucks roughly with tax and shipping. This one's like $150, and this is like $212. So I hope that doing this video shows you that there is a difference between buying officially licensed Mopar product versus buying unofficially licensed product that that does the same job. And I'm not going to tell you one's better than the other. I'm just telling you the differences in what I see here and what you're buying when you do spend the extra money to have the Mopar name brand on your car. What you are actually getting for the price difference. If you have any questions, any comments, please feel free to drop them in the comments below. Thanks for watching.